Hello and welcome back to ERU, where we round up the biggest results and talking points from across European football. And what a weekend of European football it was. But before we delve into that, Henry Hill is with me this morning. Ori, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah, I mean, what a weekend, what a week in general. It's just a gift that keeps on giving at the moment. So much action everywhere. I think I've probably watched more football in the last 2 weeks than I have all year, it feels like. Yeah, Dukes, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit nervous. It's the second leg of Sunderland versus Sheffield Wednesday tonight in the League One playoff semi-final. We're going away at Hillsborough. We beat them 1-0 at the Stadium of Light on Friday, but it was an incredibly nervy win, not too comfortable at all. So everyone, please pray for Sunderland. We need all the help we can get. But anyway, let's get into the European action and our story of the week, because there is talk of a Bernardo Silva, Frenkie De Jong swap deal. What's going on with this one, Henry?
Yes, according to Mundo Deportivo, Barcelona are keeping a close eye on City's Bernardo Silva, his situation at the club, claiming that the Blaugrana and Xavi are enormous fans of the 27-year-old, and so they should be. He supposedly views him as the perfect player, this is Xavi, to offer even more control to their team alongside Pedri. Obviously, they've got Kessié as well. A stacked midfield as they look to get that Gavi contract negotiation over the line as well. I mean, they're going to have so many options. It's unbelievable. But anyway, the former Monaco player who's pictured wearing a Barcelona shirt as a child is approaching the end of his 5th season with Manchester City, where he's played 249 games, playing at least 50 in 3 out of the 4 completed seasons. 50 matches, that is. I mean, he's perfect in many regards. And the report goes on to claim, this is what makes it a little bit interesting actually, that the Benfica Academy graduate, who nearly did actually leave last summer, he wants to move closer to his family in Portugal and would be open to move to Barcelona. I mean, who wouldn't be either? So yeah, with Fernandinho already leaving, but Bernardo still has 3 years on his contract. So it's, even if Barcelona did want him, it's going to take this is why they're going to have to get creative if they are going to have any chance of landing him and bringing him to the Camp Nou. And this is why maybe they're going to try and include Frenkie De Jong in a deal. But I mean, Dukes, I think this would be an awful... I saw you tweet the other day about the Pogba-Bernardo Silva swap deal. I think this would be up there as a similarly poor decision, although I prefer it to swapping for Pogba.
Yeah, I think I got maybe a little bit carried away with that. I said swapping Pogba for Bernardo Silva, or getting Pogba in and letting go of Bernardo Silva would be one of the worst pieces. No, I think I said the worst piece of business in the Abu Dhabi era. Of course, Mangala signed for £40 million. He's pretty unfortunate with injuries, pretty useless as well when he played as well. So maybe that takes top spot. But yeah, I am not a fan of getting rid of Bernardo Silva at all, unless he, requests to leave the club because he wants to go and be closer to his family, as you already mentioned. He's so versatile, he can play all across that front line, in that false 9 position as well, all across the midfield, and he's so rarely injured. So get this, he's missed 13 games across the last 7 seasons. So I really don't see the benefit of letting Bernardo Silva go. I thought he was excellent in both legs of the Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid, to be honest. I thought he was their best player in the Bernabeu by quite some distance, and he's been excellent all season. He's got 11 goals and 6 assists in 43 League and Champions League games this season. He's clearly been back to his 2018-19 best, where he was comfortably one of the best players in the Premier League. And his stats against his City counterparts, some of the most talented players in the world, just go to show how essentially is the way Pep Guardiola's team plays. So he's second for key passes in that side. He's 4th for passes into the penalty area. 3rd for tackles and interceptions in City side. Incredible work ethic. 1st for pressures, just goes to show that further. And 3rd for progressive carries. So every metric you'd want from a central midfielder, Bernardo Silva is quite simply exceptional at. So if they were to let him go, getting in a player as a replacement isn't the worst move. And Frenkie De Jong is immensely talented. He is 3 years younger. But Xavi has made clear that he doesn't want Frenkie De Jong to leave, but maybe that would go out of the window if Bernardo Silva was the sort of, the carrot at the end of it, as it were. But he's quite clearly not at Bernardo Silva's level just yet. He's played 400 league minutes fewer so far this season. He averages less than half the shots, 1.5 key passes versus 1.7, so not an enormous drop-off, and less than 3 progressive carries fewer per 90 as well, so not nearly as dynamic. Obviously, he's played in a team where he's been in and out of the side as well. Looked like he was really stepping up to be one of the best midfielders under the world under Ronald Koeman last season. Hasn't quite managed to replicate that so far this year. But yeah, if they are going to let Bernardo Silva go, getting in Frenkie De Jong isn't the worst option. but I would be overall against it as a move. But the only way I'd accept this, if it says something like 20 to 30 million euros and Frenkie De Jong for Bernardo Silva, then I would possibly come to the table. I mean, Henry, are there any terms that you would accept this deal?
I just don't think that Frenkie De Jong fits what... Well, I guess with Verona going, a defensive midfielder would be an option, but they're not... For City, it's not a replacement losing Silva and getting Frenkie De Jong in. They offer completely different kind of abilities. So, no, if I was City, I'd do whatever I could to hold on to Bernardo Silva. They've still got 3 years to run his contract. In a very strong position. I think the fact he can just literally play anywhere makes him so useful. I agree with everything that you just said. So yeah, if I was City, I'd be holding on to him. I think Frenkie De Jong is going to have to look elsewhere if he's serious about leaving Barcelona.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you say he could replace Fernandinho in that position. It's quite clearly not his position, or at least his best position, playing in that defensive midfield role. I think he's a much better box-to-box player than he is in that holding role where he kind of gets caught out positionally defensively. So I'm kind of against this as well. Guys, we want your opinion though. That's the one that really matters to us. Let us know in the comments down below. Would you accept Frenkie De Jong for Bernardo Silva if you're Pep Guardiola? And Barcelona fans, do you think you can get Bernardo Silva through the door? Let us know in the comments down below. And let's move on to our result of the week.
All right, for our result of the week, we are going to Italy, the place where the best action is happening week in, week out at the moment. This comes in from @JakeC_96. And it's Milan's victory at Hellas Verona. It was the thriller that we said it might be on Continental Club. What happened here, Diggy?
Yeah, hugely exciting. Slightly annoyed because I did predict a 1-1 draw and, Inter taking advantage in the title race, but wasn't to be. Stay tuned for Friday because there is a very tight title race amongst our, big match predictions this year. I think Henry and myself are now tied. But before we get into Milan quickly, we need to do some shout-outs as well. Congrats to Schalke for sealing an instant return to the Bundesliga, Porto for beating Benfica 1-0 and securing their 3rd title in 5 years. It's been a bit of a procession this year in Portugal. Benfica have been way off their best in the league in Sporting CP. Haven't managed to replicate that excellent 2021 season under Ruben Amorim. Venezia beat Bologna 4-3, which could have massive ramifications at the bottom of Serie A. And Atleti for beating Real Madrid 1-0 in a game that Henry got a perfect score in, very annoyingly. But we want to focus this week on the Serie A title race, and in particular Milan's excellent 3-1 win over Verona last night, which saw them come back from 1-0 down through 2 goals from Sandro Tonali on his 22nd birthday. He also had 1 ruled out in the first half as well, so could have had a hat-trick. And Alessandro Florenzi as well, what an excellent finish from him. This was a deserved victory for the Rossoneri. They had 18 shots to Venezia's 10. They had 8 on target to their 3. And XG actually had it at 3.1 to 1. So the scoreline was almost perfectly reflective of the sort of dominance of the two sides, or the lack of dominance from Verona, I should say. And Rafa Leao, shout out Rafa Leao, absolutely essential to this win too, alongside Tonali, of course. After Verona's excellent opener through their captain Ferraroni, it was Leao's run that led to Tonali sort of tap in for his first. And then he took the ball from the halfway line to the edge of the 6-yard box, showing incredible pace and a little bit of trickery with a little pause in there as well to square it for the former Brescia man's second. The 22-year-old, Rafa Leao that is, now has 10 goals and 6 assists in 32 games this season, including 2 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 games. And we're going to get on to Inter's sort of player that's been so decisive in their potential title sort of challenge, I should say, in Star of the Week. But if Milan win the title, I think a lot of credit has to go down to Rafa Leao, of course. And knowing the Inter result, which happened on Saturday, which we'll come on to in due course, this was a massive comeback win. And Milan are now unbeaten in 14 games with just 2 games to go. So we'll come on to Henry's thoughts in the title race in just a second, Henry. But before then, let's give some credit to Verona as well.
Yeah, what a season. We praised them on Friday in Continental Club, the work they've done on the small budget. And, I mean, at a time when we're seeing teams that have maybe got promoted or secured their table status, maybe dropping off a bit, Verona have stayed super consistent. They're 23 points clear of relegation and 7th off the 7th place Conference League spot. I mean, that's just stunning form for a team like Verona. And this was their first defeat in 4 games. They've had some massive results this year too, beating Roma, Lazio, Juventus, Sassuolo and Atalanta. They're now guaranteed to finish in the top 10 of the table. That's just so no shame there, no shame in this defeat here. As you say, Rafa Leao, simply exceptional. But I mean, think about Verona, they don't have many star players either. They'll be desperate to keep hold of Giovanni Simeone. He's on loan from Cagliari. And he's got 60 goals, 5 assists in 33 games this year. Only Immobile, Lautaro and Vlahovic have scored more. So yeah, great season for him. Loads of braces. I think he's only scored in like 10 separate games. He just keeps sort of banging them in. But yeah, key performance in this game. And one of actually the sort of unsung heroes of the season, as far as I'm concerned, is Kalulu. He was excellent again. 5 tackles, 4 clearances, 2 aerial duel wins, 1 dribble. I mean, for someone who barely any of us really knew about at the start of the season, he's had to really step in. Simon Kjær injured, Romagnoli out at certain points. Kalulu's come in next to Tomori, and I think if Milan do go on to win the title, alongside people like Leao, Kalulu are they're the keys to that victory, because you need that strength and depth if you're going to go through the whole season and maintain the pace of teams like Inter. And Kalulu's just been vital towards that. Man of the match, though, has to be Tonali. I think in previous weeks people have been asking us to put him up in lights, but yeah, he was crucial again. He's now scored 3 goals in 3 games, so yeah, he's coming of age, and it makes that deal they managed to get where they got him on a reduced fee look even better, doesn't it, Dukes? But I mean, yeah, I'm rooting for Milan. I want them to go for it. I want them to win. I know you're an Inter fan, but I mean, can you see Milan going the whole way now?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to look past them as well. I mean, they've got Atalanta and Sassuolo, so 2 harder games, and Atalanta won this weekend. But the way they're playing, the fact they're more than the sum of their parts, really. If you look at the individual talent in there, the players that have stepped up in big moments this season, Olivier Giroud, Tonali recently, Rafa Leao, Benacer, etc. And they're so solid defensively. Mike Maignan needs a special mention as well. So, yeah, fully deserved title win if they do get it. Just, on the basis that they probably haven't been the better team than Inter, but they have, 14 games unbeaten down the stretch. That's a phenomenal run. So, yeah, massive credit to them.
Nice. All right. Well, we're not just finished with Serie A just yet, as we're going to move on to our star of the week.
Okay, as we've already talked about, we are picking a player from Inter's team, because up until Sunday night, this seemed like a massive, potentially season-defining performance. As we've discussed, it might prove not to be, but we're going for Lautaro Martinez at the suggestion of Jezza98, Henry.
Yes, absolutely. Although I will say Patrick Schick really does deserve a standout. I watched a bit of this game. They're great. They're showing their games on YouTube at the moment, the Bundesliga games, direct to view. But yeah, 2 goals, and I think he got an assist as well in a 4-2 victory away at Hoffenheim, which sealed third place for Die Werkself. What a season for Gerardo Simeone's sides, and by Leverkusen back in the Champions League, and really exciting team. However, Patrick Schick, what a season. He scored so many times this year in the peak of his condition. But yeah, Lautaro Martinez also having a fantastic season. He scored 2 wonderful goals as Inter came back from 2-0 down within 28 minutes to beat Empoli 4-2 on Friday night. Looked like they were going to be in real trouble for a second after some uncharacteristic defensive errors from Skriniar and De Vrij. Romagnoli own goal got back into the game, but it was Lautaro who turned the game around. First, a glorious half volley from Çalhanoğlu's cut back, really right into the corner. Almost couldn't believe the angle, which he managed to make the ball go. And then an instinctive volley after the ball was deflected to him in the box. Yeah, it was great. A proper celebration, shirt off, really milking it. Absolutely adored by the crowd. I loved it. But yeah, Inter deserved it, didn't they? They had 37 shots with 10 on target. That's huge. 37 shots versus 4 and 2 from Empoli. Empoli, another sort of bogey team as well, like Hellas Verona. And yeah, XG had it at 5.6 to 0.7. You don't see that very often. So yeah, fully deserved victory for Inter, and I really looked like they were going to be a spot of bother when they went 2-0 down. But yeah, Dukes, you must be happy with this result.
Yeah, I am. I mean, to clarify, I'm not really an Inter fan. They're just something I've got an affiliation with in Europe. Mainly actually created off Football Manager during lockdown 2020. Played for a week and 3 days on that game, and then decided, had a long hard look at myself in the mirror and decided I need to get somewhere back to normal life, I think. But anyway, Inter have now won 6 of their last 7 games, so they've also been on an excellent run. They will just be ruining that 2-1 defeat to Bologna, which is the only blemish on their record during that time. That game in which Radu made that absolutely massive error in the course of this title race. And I think most Inter fans that I follow on Twitter have accepted that the title is now beyond them. But they can still be pretty proud of this season that they managed to put together. Aside from that really poor period between January and early March, they've been largely pretty excellent. They got through the Champions League into the last 16 as well, gave Liverpool an excellent game in that contest as well. Just haven't quite had enough in Serie A, but they could still win the Coppa Italia against Juventus, of course. But if they do win the title, as unlikely as it looks right now, like Rafa Leao, it'll really be down to Lautaro Martinez. He's got 7 goals and 1 assist in his last 6 games. And while I love the instinctive half volley from Calhanoglu's cutback, it was the volley that I preferred, when the ball just dropped to him at a lot of pace in the box and he just volleyed it straight in. It was just a really composed finish from a guy who's blown hot and cold at times this season, but is blowing so hot right now. So massive credit to Lautaro Martinez. The Nerazzurri, they've got Cagliari and Sampdoria left. Milan, as I said, have Atalanta and Sassuolo. 2 tougher games on paper. There's just 2 points between them at the top, but I think it's probably going to be Milan now, as much as I want Inter to win. Guys, do you disagree with that assessment? Let us know in the comments down below. And that's all we've got time for on ERU for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Henry, if they have and want to watch more Football Daily content, what do you recommend they watch?
Go watch the Football Pyramid, always. The best quiz show on YouTube, hands down, irrelevant of the genre. Go check it out.
Oh, lovely stuff. Yeah, it was Mikey McCubbs versus Joe. Highly entertaining episode. Thank you very much for watching today, guys. We'll catch you later in the week. Goodbye.